qualifying game. This time actually is a qualifying game, as I introduced it as a qualifying game, unlike the last time. Got ahead of myself there, didn't I? Top right-hand side, the red Terran player is TY. Still teamless, as crazy as that is. As neat. Bottom left-hand side, our blue Protoss is Patience. Winner goes to TSL5, $30,000 tournament. Stacked bracket, by the way. This is the last qualifier, the last player we need to finish up the player list. And then, I don't know when they're going to release the bracket, but I imagine you get the bracket a little bit in advance. So, I'm kind of interested about it, as we do see the probe of Patience making its way to the upper right-hand side here. Looking to see just what is going on early in this game. Patience had some good PvT earlier, did take down Dream on his way, and then really should have already qualified. He should have 2-0 time. That second game was so winnable for him. He was in an amazing position, and he did give it up. So he's had good PvT, but he's also messed up a little bit. As you do see that probe getting chased away, the SCV pushing that into the middle of the map here. And obviously for Patience, that's just a scout to make sure there's no proxy. TY is a very tricky player in Terran versus Protoss. He plays a lot of builds which are proxy focused, you know, setting up barracks across the map, weird timings that you're not really expecting. It's crazy. So yeah, it's very difficult to play against TY and TvP, so I think the probe scout is absolutely a necessity just to see what's up. And of course the probe can be very annoying from there on out. It's going to come back in here and just double check up. Going to see that this is already a reactor building. He's going to come through and go nibbling the SCV on the command center, so we'll just deal some damage there. The Reaper pulls back to get that probe, so yes, the probe goes down, but also buys you more time where the Reaper is now on this side of the map rather than across the map already harassing. Stalker first from Patience into a Sentry, so no Adept from Patience at all. So if there was ever a time to go into a Twilight Council and Blink, now would be it. If you're just going to go this amount of Stalkers right from the start. I mean, Patience loves his Blink. A bit too much sometimes. Sometimes he blinks when he should not. Did you see the SCV on the bottom right side? So TY hides this SCV again. So he was on this map against time. He did the same thing where he put the SCV on the top side, had it patrolling, and I was ready to call Fusion Core. Now he's going to do the same again here. Keep this SCV on the map. This time there's not a scout going into his main base. So maybe this time he does commit to it, and this time, yes, he does. So Fusion Core going to be the play. And I think the only difference really is the fact that obviously this time there's just no scout at all into the main base, so you don't know at all what's going on. Maybe it's something to do with the build order. Maybe it's something to do with the fact this is a Twilight and not a Stargate, so he likes to go for it now. So Fusion Core is going to be the plan. He's going to go into a battle cruiser. The way this works, you use the BC to harass, and you play, you know, get into bio behind it, and that BC can be such an annoying harassment tool against Protoss as well. It works well on this map. I don't know why specifically on this map. Maybe just because players play less aggressively in general, so you're not going to get killed as often by all-ins, etc. But it really is the one map where TY plays this, I'm not going to say religiously, but consistently, right? There's not been many other maps where you hide a Fusion Core out on the map and you go from there. That's a nice scout from the hallucination, though. At this point, TY is too far gone to go back on his idea. Of course, you don't necessarily know his Patience. This could just be a Raven, right? So he doesn't know right away that this is a BC. That's the benefit of building the Fusion Core on the map. Forge building in the main base here from Patience. Going to be seeing the well, probe's like sat there waiting to build something else. What's it going to be? Tell me, Patience, what are you going to do? Robo Bay. Okay, so dropping down the Robo Bay already. This is a little concerning because it does feel like he's just going to be on 6 Stalkers, and that's kind of it. He will take a third base at 5 minutes, so he's been a little bit careful there, teching up a little bit more rather than going straight to the third. I feel like now he thinks he's kind of safe, but in reality, maybe not so much. Maybe he knows it's a BC because he's splitting up well. If it's a Raven as well, I don't know how often you go into the Robo Bay, because the Raven against a Robo Bay is really good. Because the interference matrix on a Colossus does so much. This BC is going to teleport across. We'll go to the back of the natural. Patience sees it, so he will be there. Stalker's getting into position. He'll start a shield battery against this, and I think with this amount of Stalkers, he's just fine against this. Stalkers blink in. They do a lot of damage, and TY will just have to pull this BC out. So the BC doesn't do a lot now, and right now, of course, you're like, well, Battle Cruiser not looking great just yet. You know, it didn't really do much damage for the moment, but it's the follow-up here that really can then perhaps get so much more done, as these Stalkers, they're going to come out through this top side. A Marine just sat there waiting for these Stalkers to continue coming across, I guess. An Observer from Patience coming around too. And he's going to be up and around. Just going to see Marines tank Raven of TY going to move into the main base. These Stalkers continue across, and looks like they kind of want to jump up here into this main. I'm just going to go blinking in towards the natural expansion. Bunker goes down. 2, 3 SCVs already killed off. Just going to have the SCVs doing a very good job of... Marines doing a very good job of deflecting these Stalkers. Only a few SCVs. I think that's fine for TY. He gets back home with this BC. We'll repair it. Again, you can use this to harass at further points of this game, right? Like, you don't have to just use it now. Especially when the bio army starts moving out, you can really do a lot, right? If the BC goes in the main base while the main army pushes the third, it takes a lot of units to defend a BC. And so if you're taking a lot of units to defend a battle cruiser, well, you better hope you can, then muster up a defense elsewhere on the third base at the same time. So it's tough to deal with. It's not the easiest. Especially when you don't play against it all the time as well. I think is very notable, because it's one of those things where you kind of do need to play it a few times to figure out just what you need where and how you adjust to deal with it. And I mean, at this point, TY is like one of the only players still doing this. I think Kyo threw it out like once in the last month or so, but TY is the guy who does this again, I think, more often than not. They first did this back in January during IEM qualifiers, but obviously they let it die off for a couple of months, and then they brought it back, which is which is always fun, right? Like, nothing actually became good against it. It's just like nothing changed about the build. It just became more expected. So when you bring it back and it's a little bit less expected again, you know, that in itself is part of a reason a strategy is strong again, right? So you see back across the map, this is what I mean. You get in here, you harass. Hey, that's just 5 probes. Stalkers, they blink to the high ground. You see, just going to sit in the corner here. He's going to get rid of this pylon. Yeah, pylon will fall in the corner. 5 probes killed. TY able to do a good amount there. Going to see another siege tank from TY pressing forwards. And the bio army coming to the front as well. Going to see +2 attack about halfway along on that forge. Observer. Also a little bit closer to the front. Stalker's blinking up, doing a little bit. Gonna see the bio of TY. Gonna go over the right-hand side. Tanks firing. Stalker's taking a lot of damage. We do see the Warp Prism of Patience up to the top as a bit more bio continuing in. Raven gonna get shot down as the Stalker's blink. Gets an anti-armor missile. The bio too far away to really take much more of an advantage from that as the Storm Corona boosting on the Templar Archives. 5th base is down from Patience as fire comes around. The BC is back, this time to the top of the natural, and we'll just get a few more probes. At this stage, this BC's already had, what, like 11 kills? Again, it's nothing super, it's nothing extraordinary, but it's enough to start justifying its cost, and it's enough to keep Patience having to worry about it. It's more than the workers killed, it's the units you're keeping in certain positions having to deal with that also. Tanks pressing forwards, command center dropping into the center. 5 bases across the board from Patience. As you see, +2 attack, +2 armor on the engineering base in the back of the natural. The bio army of TY over the right hand side. As a few bio units unload and Stalker will be killed. Bio tanks all pressing out to the front. Gonna see Patience out the front of the base at the moment. The bio army of TY coming down and just looking to see what it can get up to. This, I mean, Medivac's boost upgrade is not something you often see, but if you've got a fusion core, for a while people said if you've got a fusion core, you may as well make use of it. Then people kind of stopped doing it. That's a huge snipe on the Warp Prism. My goodness, 2 High Templar inside of it, so huge snipe on the Prism. As TY is just sitting out the front, Patience loses out on that. Well, now TY is pushing across the map as well. There's nothing really in this natural. A handful of Stalkers. This BC is going to make its way out over here, apparently. Forces a recall. A lot of units still in the center, but now the bio just goes towards the third base instead. This bio is just sent in without Medivac, so he will just try and get as many probes as possible, but yeah, the Zealots warping in. The Marines struggle to target fire, and TY will not get maybe as much done as he really wanted to. As more of this bio going to sit out the front of this fifth base of TY is about to finish though, so both those topside bases about to complete. Enhanced Shockwaves is on the Ghost Academy, so getting that set of EMPs up, that will help so much against the composition he's playing against. First Colossus of the game now out as well. No extended thermal lance, so they're not scary yet. Actually, Patience needs to make sure he hasn't forgotten extended thermal lance. This is obviously a fairly delayed kind of set of Colossus. Now he's building the second one. Without it, it is a concern. Bio drop in the natural, and of course at the same time the BC teleport into the third. So again, it's that idea of splitting up these forces, keeping you busy in one place and then hitting the other at the same time. And you warp in Stalkers against this, I mean, fine, you already lost a couple Stalkers against it. Stalkers will blink up into the main here to defend, I imagine. Meanwhile, TY goes for the major push around the side. And she goes all the way through the main base with this BC, so it's very committed. At this point, I think he is just trying to keep units out of place. Well, force fields drop down, but the tank's got some shots off. And this tank army is huge as well, by the way. Worth mentioning that TY has just kept building tanks all this time. He went second factory, third factory to get to this number. This BC is actually doing a good job against these Stalkers. Might just goes down. The last Stalker was very nearly fallen there. These tanks are very scary because the tanks are very good against Stalkers. They're very good against Colossus, and there just isn't a Zealot count here at all. Obviously, the tank count is huge, and while the Storms are nice, these Storms just not going to be dropping in on an army which is, well, this deep in tank protection. Patience starts to launch a counterattack of Stalkers, but the counterattack of Stalkers just means less here to really defend against the major push, right? What's he going to get over here? I mean, if he gets the planetary, I'd be amazed, because I don't think the Stalkers have the burst DPS to really just take a planetary down with any kind of SCV repair. TY making good progress on this low base. He actually only really left the tanks over here. He brought a lot of his army back up to the top to chase Stalkers. I think he's now realizing that this really is just Stalkers up there, so he brings a lot more of his army back, realizing, okay, I don't need everything back at home. Some Zealots warping in. You can see Patience's adjustment over the last couple of warp-ins has just been purely Zealots realizing, okay, like, if I don't have any Zealots here, I'm going to get screwed by tanks. But if I have Zealots, tanks actually aren't necessarily always that great. Especially now I got rid of some of the ghosts, landed some feedbacks. There's not as many EMPs, so my Zealots can be that little bit tankier for longer. Zealots on the left side go charging in. Disruptor shots firing too. And the tank line is so deep. The Stalkers go blinking into this as TY goes pulling back. Any reinforcements showing up? He really needs a bit more bio reinforcements because, again, the tanks just don't really hold their own for a long period of time here. Well, there's not much bio reinforcements, but it's also because he's got an army on this left-hand side. Stimming into this base. Recall on cooldown, remember, was used not so long ago to bring the Stalkers from the top of the map back down to the bottom for this fight. So this Nexus will fall. So both players essentially denying the same base as this happens. This Marine Force will continue forwards, but into Stalkers and Zealots, and actually may just want to get out of there. The Stalkers, I mean, you can't lift and get out of there. You can try and run. The Stalkers blink. Now you can go for it. That's good play from TY. Good recognition of when exactly the Stalkers have blinked and when he can lift up with ease. DT's about to have blink here from Patience. 15 minutes on Eternal Empire. Game one of this qualifying match. Oh, yeah, and a pretty excellent game of StarCraft 2. Kind of makes me wonder where Patience has been the last couple of months if he can play this well. It's a bit crazy. as he's been continuing to move around, defend these attacks of TY. And I like the army movement in general from Patience. Really good to kind of keep TY busy and keep TY back at points. The DT is making a big play to the top. Disruptor's going around the back there, worried about the flank in. Stalkers blink up, tank gets taken down. 2 more tanks building on the natural expansion. Still an army coming through here from TY into the center. This Protoss army in the middle of the map still. DT's on the top. Is that enough DTs? Oh, it's not going to do it. He's going to get enough bio there to kill it. The repair is good and the CC stays alive. That was a lot of DTs that just went down, by the way. 13 DTs killed this game. I don't think it was 13 DTs, but it was like 8 or so that we saw moving across there initially. That's a huge, huge save for TY. Meanwhile, we have the army pressing at the frontier from Patience, trying to get into that position on the low ground. Will not make it happen as the Ghost goes down. As Patience moves back, TY moves forward into the bottom side of the map. Gonna go for this Nexus recall available. He recalled Colossus and Immortals. Is that enough on its own? Colossus and a Disruptor just goes down there, and that's what the concern kind of was. TT's blinked into that. Patience doesn't get much done. TY re-establishing this base. Patience already has his up on the left side, so quite important for TY to then get that running and to not lose it here to this push forwards. Holding the watchtower for a few moments lets him see that, so lets him see what's going on. He's got nukes coming into play. Okay, well, if that's how we're playing now, that's how we're playing. Nukes in play. Patience, you need units here. Oh no, he just lost 16 probes to the nuke. It felt like he knew the Ghost was there, he just didn't have any detection. Colossus now goes down, backs away from the Disruptor shot. Bottom right base up as well, something that Patience might just need a single drop to go and deal with, but or TY needs a single drop to go and deal with as Patience mining from that, gets another Disruptor snipe before it lands the connection. This Ghost will now be chased down. I just wonder what Patience is going to do. This is like 30 army supply or more. On the left side, doing nothing at all at the moment. I feel like TY had a real opportunity to press in here, but he's a bit afraid because he doesn't know where the rest of the army is. Obviously, he had a lot of time to take advantage of it already. Stalkers blink through this planetary. Now with the Zealots combined, I think Stalkers and Zealots maybe get rid of this. It's still going to come at a cost because... Oh no, don't tell me you don't get the planetary. He backs away. There's a lot of units given up. Now Zealots in the main base. Well, TY is very out of position to deal with Zealots and DTs in the main. He has a couple of EMPs available. Cloaks. Does he still have EMPs available? I guess not. Well, these Ghosts feel like they're in a lot of trouble, but there's no Observer actually. So actually the Ghosts are okay. It's everything else that might be in trouble. The DTs will finally get cleaned up. Actually, a much smoother cleanup from TY than I was expecting there. I was able to make that work as the army of Patience out on the left. Zealots, couple DTs, and Stalkers of Patience coming up to the top side. 2 Vikings, 5 Marines coming in. Planetary Fortress there to cover. A Nexus of Patience in the top left, and it is just bases all over the map here from Patience at the moment. Really has a lot of coverage on the map at the moment as Patience comes around. Going to take, well, a group of units to the top left side. Zealots and a few DTs. This missile turret already gets picked off. The Disruptor shot comes through. Tank shots are good as well. And 2 more refineries from TY on the far right. As they complete, TY really gets to a position here where he has that base up, but just as it happens, he actually loses the top side base. He's now going to nuke the central base. Well, we've seen the first nuke land for probes. This time Patience will be a bit more careful. Moves the probes away in time. Big EMP lands on the Zealots. Of course, Patience still just trying to make this scrappy. And what he is achieving is he's keeping TY on a lower economy than himself. It's coming at a huge cost, but it's what he needs to do because the resources lost is heavily in Patience's, is heavily in TY's favor. So if TY does get bases up and does mine as much as Patience, Patience loses the game because TY just gets way more. This army is also just not great for larger fights, though, and that's why he's trying to counterattack all the time. That's why he's trying to remove his army around the map instead of taking straight-up fights. Of course, it means that TY, when he catches army units like that, it works very well for him. Forced to lift this right side base, but he's going to kill the left side base in the process because he does kill the top left too. So, base for a base, but there's also bottom right to think about here. TY immediately starting to rebuild command centers, and he's got an army in his natural expansion to worry about also. I mean, this is 3 Colossi and 2 Disruptors, multiple Immortals. The thing with this army is it's the sort of army you can't just run into to clean up. You've got to be very careful about, you know, being a choke point or so. This Ghost finds the nuke once again on this base, but Patience sees it immediately. Pulls the probes away there, and Nick will go down. That Nexus still taking some hits as we have the Bio army back towards the Planetary Fortress. The Zealots, Immortals, back on this right side. I feel like TY is definitely having some issues trying to clean this up. Lands a big EMP on the Immortals already. 2 more Disruptor shots, not really connecting there. Marauder gets picked off. Bio still running down the left side. A couple of assimilators setting up too, and the rest of these few Colossi around the right. SCVs are going to be long distance mining. As, well, they don't need to anymore. Go back to this base, guys. You guys are making life more difficult. You guys are making lives a lot more difficult for yourselves. What's really good for TY is it seems like he's really going to start establishing this top left side of the map, and so what has been a struggle to get past 5 bases now does begin to come up. By the way, Patience, there's a fusion core here that he's seen. He's just doing nothing about it. I mean, okay, I suppose. There's no advanced ballistics, so if you kill it, it could stop ranged liberators without a new fusion core at some point. I like this. This is a new nuke in a new location. Oh, the Ghost uncloaks, so Patience might see it, but apparently not going to react. Maybe just missed the nuke altogether. 27 probes go down. Fight starts up here. Disruptor shots do an okay have an okay start, hitting Ghost, and going to hit another chunk of Bio there as well. Patience's supply is dropping. Patience's supply isn't just dropping, it's been kind of lowered for a while, and he's not been able to build back up ever since I think the attack on the top left, where he lost a lot of Zards and DTs. He's been struggling a bit since then. Obviously, losing 28 probes takes a big hit to his economy. I mean, there's only 1 Colossus left in this too, so even that's not so scary any longer. Zards making work of SCVs in the top left-hand side. They'll continue forwards. Joke's on you guys. The SCVs refuse to work on this top side base, so there's barely any here to kill. TY at a solid 60 supply lead now, though. 24 minutes of Eternal Empire, and TY and Patience, they both played a really great game. I don't think anyone can take that away from them. It's been a fantastic first map of this qualifying series. I feel like they'd be hard-pressed to give us a better game number 2 even. As an observer gets shot down, scan to the left side, a few of these units getting picked off as well. Zealots charging forwards, the DT gonna get picked off. A few more of these bio units pulling back in between the orbital and the wall there, getting into that choke point. Still a bit more from Patience, just out on the left-hand side, and he's going to type GG. I think he's just realizing that his own army is never really sizing up against TY's army, and TY has finally broken him. Damn. TY was just about to line up a nuke on the 9 o'clock position as well. What a great first game. TY goes 1-0 up against Patience. Really great start to this qualifier. Second map is going to be Zen, as I just mentioned. It always creates intrigue, always creates some styles and strats that can be a little bit funky. As in the top right hand side, the red Terran player is TY. Taking on the blue Protoss in the bottom left from Team LP, Patience. Game 2 of this best of 3. As we do have an SCV of TY already moving down into the middle of the map. So he's going to build a barracks, but it's kind of that. It's a very weird Rax position. I guess he really wants to make sure this doesn't get SCV scouted and delayed or denied. Is it going to be anything more than just the barracks proxy? I guess is our next question. And I kind of want to say it's a possibility, right? Because he is close enough to the front where pushing forwards could be an option. So I think there's something there. There's some possibility there, for sure. Rex is going to be done soon, so we'll get the idea of whether it's going to be a proxied factory as well or not very shortly. As Patience 0 scout, by the way, until the Nexus goes down. Now he'll start to go up the left-hand side. Reaper starts. Looks like the factory will come in back at home when that Reaper is done, because the SCV is just going to come in there and it's going to come straight through. It's going to see the Nexus. Maybe not even a scout here from Patience, by the way. Maybe a proxy. He's going to be very blind to this, so this is really bad because this bunker can build from TY, and I think he's absolutely right to build a bunker. If Patience is not going to see this, the bunker is so annoying. You can do so much with this. This factory continues up, and we're just going to be seeing the... I mean, at least the proxy Stargate is going to be real close to the Terran's base. That's the one positive side of this I can see right now. At least the proxy Stargate is going to be real close to the Terran space. That Reaper Nelly gets the probes into a surround. That's the issue as well, because he's rushing to build the proxy Stargate. He actually just didn't build a unit for a while, so this Adept is kind of late. And TY's control, I'm not going to say it was the best here. He left one probe alive on very low HP, and the Reaper grenade wasn't perfectly placed, and it was definitely a little bit funky. I like that after T Reaper is going to go into Marine production, because I really think that right now Marine production is going to get into this bunker, and with the Marines in the bunker, you're really going to start picking away at this Nexus. This Reaper goes back to the bunker, of course, and damage on the Adept, some hull damage there. Of course, a Cyclone building at home, and so if you have the Cyclone at home to deal with the Stargate, then brilliant. But I know he doesn't realize the Stargate's coming up yet. So Cyclone might be halfway across the map when the Oracle arrives, so there is potential for damage there, but this is all happening while the natural expansion of the Protoss is in the process of dying. Stalker pressing forwards, the bunker able to fight back. Stalker taking a fair amount of damage already, and just going to be seeing a second bunker of TY dropping down. Two Reapers just going to continue to make their way through the Nexus. There's the Oracle in the main. Where is the Cyclone? Stayed at home. Smart decision. Cyclone shows up, gets a lock on, gets into a really good spot. Can he find his way? He's going to have vision for a while with the SCV chasing. Oracle goes down, does nothing. That's not a good start. Even a second bunker here, but there's no breakout potential because your tech across the map did so little. There's going to be a counterattack from Patience, building a gateway across the map, which you can get behind. I think that's probably the one way you really do maybe get some damage done here. Phoenix now in production, so you can lift up some of the defensive units as well. Siege tank starting to build. Medevac about to be done. It feels like the Medevac wants to lift up these Cyclones and go across the map. If he does that, I mean, we might have something of a weird base trade scenario. He's going to load one Cyclone up. Oh, does he? Oh, no. He knows about the Oracle over here, so he chases and he finds the gateway, so now he knows about that. Oh, this is so sad. Well, not only do you get the Oracle, you're also going to get this probe, and you know about the gateway. Knowing about the gateway is huge. That's actually just really big in general. Is the Cyclone's just going to drop... No, they lock onto the Stalker. Lifts up, and so he can't get the Phoenix lift off. Siege tank is here, and GG for Patience. What a sad ending to a series. That was so good in game number 1. But TY just completely dominates it, and he takes the 2-0 and will qualify for TSL5, the final player to complete 24 awesome players in the tournament that begins on May 16th. TY 2, Patience 0, and TY is qualified.